Well, folks, we're visiting today with Jeff Webb. He is the owner of Trails Edge Cycles in Beckley, West Virginia, of course, Raleigh County. Jeff, thanks for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you, sir. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you driving up and spending some time with us here. Looking forward to learning more about your business.
Absolutely.
Positively West Virginia is powered by Breezeline high-speed fiber internet and sponsored by Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Key of Morgantown, and Storymaker. With the help of these sponsors, we are able to share the positive business stories of West Virginians, including the one featured in today's episode.
Jeff, tell us a little bit about Trails Edge Cycles. What is it that you do?
Yeah, so we're a bike shop in Beckley, West Virginia, and it's a bike shop that we built specifically out of the community itself. So we're from the community, for the community type of shop, and just really excited about cycling in general.
Yeah, how did you get into this? This idea, how was it birthed into you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it really kind of started several years ago before the pandemic. Well, me and a friend of mine, we were riding into some trails over in Fayetteville. We sat there at a bike shop that also had a restaurant built onto it right next to the trails, and we thought, why don't we have something like this, in Beckley? And as I travel around for my job, I also get to go to a lot of other states, take a look at the local bike scene to their local bike shops, and I always came back with that same feeling of why don't we have something like this in Beckley? And as that desire kept growing and growing, the answer quickly became because nobody's just wanted to do it. And as a group of cyclist enthusiasts, if you will, we kept talking about it, and the idea just popped in my head. And I looked at one day at the amount of money I'd spent on bikes in the last couple of years. I'm like, man, I could own my own bike shop for that kind of money. And then it kind of popped in my head, why don't I just do this? So It really kind of became a dream from that point forward. Yeah. So I started planning Trails Edge with a friend who worked at another bike shop in Beckley. And we just started talking about the details, looking at what we needed to do and what we wanted to do differently that made us special.
Yeah, can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So we took a look at what was existing, which, it was just something that was just hanging on. And we take a look at all the things that got us excited about cycling, the brands and the ability to bring in different vendors that the community likes. And that's something that we do at Trails Edge is we actually build everything around the community's desires rather than say, hey, we pick these brands, you guys have to buy these brands. We say, what brands do you like? Let us bring those in. That way you're excited about your stuff.
That's a great way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Listen to the customer.
Exactly. It's 100% customer driven, and that's kind of our desire. We also looked at things like, a lot of people work odd hours in our area, coal miners and stuff, and they can't always make it during shop hours. So something else we wanted to do, we tossed around maybe a bike drop-off box, something you could safely drop off a bike with, and it never kind of formulated. So what we ended up doing is we do shop appointments to where if you on a Saturday late after we've already shut our doors, if you need to come in and do shopping, or if you need to drop off a bike for maintenance, we'll actually come and meet that person after hours. So we'll make appointments with people.
Yeah, that's super cool. Again, listening to the customer.
Exactly.
I think that's really cool. So Jeff, have you been into cycling, your whole life? Tell us a little bit about that part of the journey. I mean, it sounds like you're a guy that's into cycling.
Yeah, so I got into it after college. So I graduated college in 2003, and I played baseball, all through school, all through college. And when I got out, bottom line was I thought, man, I just don't want to get fat after all this. So I needed to do something to stay in shape. And I thought, well, what was I doing before I played baseball? And I thought, well, I like to ride a bike. Yeah. So I went out and I did what a lot of people do. I went and looked at the nice bikes at the bike shop, and I thought, that is ridiculous. I'm not paying that for a bicycle. So I went to Walmart and made that mistake. I bought a bike at Walmart that I thought, what a killer deal. And, it had the coil shock and just looked like a mean machine. And I took it out and it fell apart on me on the road riding it. So I thought, okay, I enjoyed it enough, so let me invest a little bit of money. Yeah. So I went to a local bike shop and bought my first real mountain bike, and when I took it out on the trail, I'll never forget that first experience, going out on that first trail, a trail in the woods at Little Beaver State Park. As I rode out on that trail and I got further and further away from the real world and I got further out in the woods, I thought, man, this is great. And then I dropped down into a little tunnel. It was made out of rhododendrons. It was like the Alice in Wonderland moment for me. I dropped down into Wonderland. I've kind of been there ever since, just in love with the sport since then.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah. That's very cool. So you're originally from Beckley, born and raised in Beckley.
Yeah.
You went. You said you played college baseball. Where'd you go?
Yeah, so I went to West Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Back in the Montgomery days, not the Beckley days.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I think this is a great story because you've got a passion for it. You saw a need for something.
Yeah.
You collaborated with some, the community and some of your buddies and somebody who worked in a bike shop. Now you got this thing started. You opened roughly in 2023. Is that correct?
Correct.
So you're getting ready to have your second year, basically.
Yeah. So we opened June 22nd of 2023.
Right,
so
great.
we're just over a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Now.
Yeah. That's great. So. What's exciting to you right now? What's the thing that has you like really fired up about Trails Edge cycles?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So we actually just started thinking about how do we want to market ourselves and what gets us out into the world the most, and it's really this online advertising that we're doing with Facebook, Instagram. So we just started a project bike build, and we are super pumped up about it. Basically, we purchased a bike for the shop to sell, and we did a video of us doing the build out of the bike. We talk about all the specs and everything. That video for us, it's been on our Facebook for about 2.5, 3 weeks now, and it's up to 1,600 views, which for us that's
awesome.
That's massive for us.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So it got
Very
just
cool.
a ton of
What kind
interest.
of bike is it? Is it a mountain bike?
It is.
Are you able to say what kind of brand
Absolutely.
it is?
Yeah. So it's a Scott Ransom. It's a larger travel bike, something you use in a place like Snowshoe with big
downhill
jumps. Yeah. That kind of. And we're doing it in 3 phases. So we actually did the initial build of the stock bike, which. Stock's a very nice bike, but we're actually going to start showcasing. We have 2 more phases, and we're going to showcase a couple of our vendors that we do some accessories with, and we're going to customize it to our color scheme for the Trails Edge cycles. So at the end of the build, it's going to really shine kind of our brand and be a real special build, and at the same time get some really great advertising.
It reminds me of Orange County Choppers.
That's exactly kind of that style. Really, it really is. Yeah.
Reality bike show. I love it, man. That's super cool. So let's dive in to a little bit about your products. In other words, what are you known for? What brands, first of all? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 3 brands of bikes that we sell, and that is Scott, Trek, and Cannondale. And those are 3 bike brands that were previously offered by another bike shop there, and we thought we don't want to give the community too much shock. We wanted to be comfortable with the brands that they're used to. We try to feature one of the 3 that is probably the one that had the least exposure. So to still try to build that brand and show kind of the differences there. And we're starting to, we brought in the initial accessory brands, if you will, that the community was used to as well. Now we've actually, as I mentioned, we're starting to build around the community their desires. What brands do you like? Let us bring those in so you can come here and check out those brands and purchase the stuff you like.
That's super cool. Now, do you specialize in mountain bikes or do you carry road bikes? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So 99% of our business through the door is going to be for mountain bikes, based on our proximity to trail systems. Yeah. We're, literally a mile and a half away from the Gary Moorfield Gray Flats Trail System, 10 minutes away from Little Beaver State Park, and just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Fayetteville and all the trails over there. So the vast majority of our business is going to be that. Road bikes we do sell. It's our clientele when they come in to buy a road bike, they know exactly the bike they want, so they're going to order that bike. So for us to stock those, it would just not be a good business model for us. But we sell e-bikes, road bikes, we sell gravel bikes, so all the above. But we stock, like say 99% of the bikes we stock are going to be mountain bikes because that's the day in, day out business.
Awesome. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back.
Your prescriptions are designed to keep you healthy, active, full of life. At Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're making vital medicine more affordable. Because when your prescriptions don't cost an arm and a leg, you can use those limbs for something more meaningful. Because life. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, West Virginia.
Folks, we're visiting with Jeff Webb. He's the owner and founder of Trails Edge Cycles in Beckley, West Virginia, Raleigh County. Jeff, let's jump right back in. You mentioned gravel bikes and e-bikes. Yeah. Talk a little bit about what all that is about, because I know that those are terms that weren't really heard, 10 years ago, but now they're very, very prevalent, not only in America, but here in West Virginia.
Yeah, absolutely. So the gravel bike is basically a road bike frame, and it has knobby tires on it. It allows you to do mixed surface rides. So you can ride it on the road, and then you can also get off and do some gravel riding with the, a lot of the back roads and stuff that we have here in West Virginia. It's really attractive to a lot of the people in our area, but it's something that's really caught on. It's also a lot like a cyclocross bike, and cyclocross itself has really grown as a sport and started to build out, and that might be the quickest growing market that there is that mixed surface or gravel bike market.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, e-bikes.
Yes.
That stands for electric bikes. They're battery operated mostly, right? Some
Absolutely.
of them are like hybrid. You could pedal them, but push a button and go, right?
That's correct.
Talk a little bit about the e-bike phenomenon.
Yeah, absolutely. So probably the majority of the calls that I get about the bikes we carry, I hear just a ton about, do you carry e-bikes? And right now we don't stock them because we don't turn them over real quickly. We have sold e-bikes, but our area is just starting to get to where it's starting to get big. So we're ready to go when the community is. But so the e-bikes, they're battery assisted. They have a motor built into them. Some of them are in the rear hub. Some of them are built into the crank area of the bike. You'll have 3 different classes. So you've got class 1, 2, and 3. Class 1 and 3 are pedal assist only, and that class 2 is going to be the one we're talking about, where you have the actual throttle.
It's almost more like an electric motorcycle, almost.
A little bit, yeah, it really is. Yeah,
that's super cool.
Yeah, one of the key factors in that is that you cannot ride an e-bike on federal lands currently. So, for instance, the Arrowhead Trails in Fayetteville, those are federal lands. We have some federal lands in Raleigh that you're not technically allowed.
What about state forests?
You can.
Yeah. So it's interesting. My father-in-law just got an e-bike. He's a avid trout fisherman, and he's wanting to access some new trout trails or trout streams in Randolph County, and he got an e-bike, and I'm like, you got to learn how to ride this thing before you get the waders on. And
yeah, absolutely.
But I think it serves a lot of purpose. I understand that people use them for hunting now.
They do,
and I think that's pretty cool.
Absolutely, hunting, fishing. We see honestly, we hear more about it from the hunting, fishing, and people who go, say, to Myrtle Beach for the winter or to Florida for the winter. They want something to ride around the campground where they're with their RV and stuff. Yeah. That's a lot of the electric bike.
That's super cool.
It is.
Especially somebody who is not able to necessarily pedal a long distance or something like that. I think
absolutely.
It's a great alternative. Well, let's, Jeff, I always like to ask this question. And, when you meet somebody for the first time, I always talk about a 30-second pitch. Yeah. What do you tell people the first time you meet them about Trails Edge Cycles?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I want them to know about us is that it doesn't matter if you've never ridden before and you're just thinking about it, or if you've been riding all your life and you really want to get that special bike. Trails Edge is a place where you come and it's pressure free. We want you to come there and first and foremost just feel the passion that we have for cycling and know that we want to help you to get to the bike you want, to have the fun you want. And we all kind of get the enjoyment from when somebody does purchase that bike. It's like we have a thing, we always take a picture and put it on our Facebook. It's New Bike Day. We celebrate that. It's kind of us vicariously having our own new bike day through that person. So it's to see that excitement in that person when they make that purchase themselves and know that they're going to take that bike out and they're going to get into a real healthy hobby and something that we think they're going to enjoy, something that we're super passionate about.
Yeah, that's cool. The thing about cycling that I think is neat about it, it's kind of like tennis or golf. You can start out at at an early age. You could be a child learning how to ride a bike, but you can ride that bike all through your life.
Yeah.
Like you said, you got out of college and you wanted to stay healthy. You picked up cycling, right? And I think even I see a lot of senior citizens, like you mentioned, in like retirement communities or campgrounds on their bikes. I think that's super cool. It's a great way to keep that physical fitness going, and it does a lot for not only your physical but your mental well-being too.
Absolutely.
Being out in nature, being on
really
the trail.
does. Yeah.
I think that's I loved your setup when you talked about riding through that rhododendron tunnel. I thought that was very cool and inspirational. So when you think about, or when I think about businesses, I often think like, Jeff, this all sounds great. Are you doing this full time? You went to college. You got a degree in IT management, basically, right? Systems, is that right?
Yeah.
And now you're owning a bike shop, but you also have a full time job.
I do.
Are you able to talk about how you balance those two things?
Yeah, sure. So I do IT related work for a fruit company, if you will. But
yes, sir.
And that's my full-time job, and I'm very blessed to have that job, thankful for it, do a lot of travel, and that's actually exposed me to a lot of the communities and showed me the bike shops there and developed a passion. But with it being a full-time job, I hire really good staff at this bike shop, and I just kind of manage from afar. I do have a guy who kind of takes over the main management duties of it. But, I show up, once a week or so just to make orders or just kind of keep the ship running the way it's supposed to. But
well, I think that's important for people to catch because, a lot of times, people think they have to necessarily quit their full-time job and just take all the risk and go in. But you can also, there's a lot of ways you can start a business, right? You could buy a business, you could inherit a business from a family member. You can start a business, you can have a side hustle. You can do like you're doing and have a full-time job and have a team of people that can run the business for you. So how do you balance all that, and is it working for you? Yeah.
So, because it's my passion, because it's my dream, when I'm not working, it's really kind of the thing that's driving my mind. How's the bike shop doing? What's going on at the bike shop? What's hot? Are there a lot of repairs coming in? Do I need to balance personnel? Those type of things. It's something that I've always had a bit of an interest in, not just cycling, but managing business itself. My grandfather, he was an entrepreneur. He was one of those guys that, whatever he touched, it just turned to gold. And
I love it.
It's just such a inspiration to me. And I thought, I think I'd like to try that out sometime myself. And I'd previously at another job, I'd had the opportunity to manage, a multi-million-dollar budget and budgeting and stuff. So I took a lot of what I'd learned at that point and then carried it over to a much smaller budget, but at the same time, but
it's smart. It's a smart way to do that and leverage the tools that you've been blessed with, the gifts that you have, and go out and help a lot of people. Yeah,
exactly. I love the job creation portion of it. I love being able to reach the community and give them what they want. I love to have them come in and share their passion, their excitement with us. Just come in and talk. We have a customer chat area. We sit down, we watch videos of cycling and stuff on YouTube and stuff. We just get the stuff.
Community.
It is.
Yeah.
It's all about the cycling community. It really is.
I love it. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back. Stay connected with an unbeatable deal from Breezeline. Voted best in mountaineer country for their reliable, high-speed fiber internet for a low cost, Breezeline is the best gig in town. Here at InnerAction Media, we rely on high-speed internet every single day to ensure we can deliver the best content possible for our clients and when we publish Positively West Virginia each week. That's why we use Breezeline. It's affordable, fast, and they're great people as well. Learn more about Breezeline's internet, TV, and mobile options at breezeline.com. Folks, we're visiting with Jeff Webb. He's the owner of Trails Edge Cycles in Beckley, West Virginia. Jeff, we talked a lot about your shop, and I can't wait. I'm going to go down and see it sometime. But the geographic area, where do your customers come from? Are they local? Are they traveling to find you?
Yeah, so it's mostly local, but I'll tell you, we do have a lot of traffic coming from the Bluefield and Princeton area as well. And of course you get visitors to the area because, there are such good trail systems. So usually in the summer we see several people from out of state that come in and they visit.
Yeah.
So a little bit of everything, but mostly local.
That's great. Travel and tourism is such an important part of West Virginia's economy.
It is.
And especially you're kind of in the heart of it right there,
Yep.
With your proximity to like the trailheads you mentioned and the New River Gorge National Park, right? How far away are you from the, say, Fayetteville area?
Yeah, so we're probably 30 minutes away drive from
perfect.
Fayetteville. Yeah.
That's awesome. So when I think about what I just said, travel and tourism, the outdoors economy is huge in West Virginia. Yeah. We have some of the most beautiful scenery in this part of the country, especially the East Coast for sure, right? We have great mountain bike trails, great whitewater hiking, backpacking, kayaking, you name it. The outdoor adventure sports is here. And now you're in the thick of that. How does that feel to you? Like, does that feel like you're in the right spot at the right time?
It really does. It's exciting to us. With the new national park designation for the New River Gorge, it's bringing a lot of opportunity to the area. And I feel like we're in such a great spot because Beckley's basically dead set in the middle of that. It goes from Fayetteville all the way down to Summers County. So for us to be right there in the center of it and have access to some of the gorges that we do and a lot of the plans that are coming down the pipe based around all of this and the commerce that's going to be associated, we're really excited for what the future can hold for us.
Yeah, it's an exciting time, I think. And, for folks who haven't ventured to the New River Gorge area, we were just down there, my wife and I, in March of 2024, and it was just it's incredible to see all the growth that's happening. It's a super cool place anyway, but I think the right types of businesses that are opening, just like Trails Edge, tying into those opportunities for people to get outside, to enjoy nature, to enjoy all that West Virginia has to offer, I think is amazing. And the cool thing about this is, and I say it all the time, is that we have amazing scenery, we have great places to visit, but I think the people make West Virginia really special. Just people like yourself, Jeff, and good-hearted people that want to be part of the community, want to engage, want to listen to their customers, want to do good, right, in the community. So, what are your thoughts on that? Like just from an aspect of the West Virginia opportunity, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I travel a lot with my day job, if you will, and when I talk to people, they talk about when they visit West Virginia, just how kind-hearted and just how wonderful, legit, like take the shirt off your back kind of people that we are. Yeah. And I think that really pulls people into this area, and it helps endear them to this area.
Yeah. What's the largest challenge you're facing right now? Being in your year and a half in, what's that look like?
Yeah, for sure, it's going to be the way the business is it's peaks and valleys. So, for instance, we knew that the selling season was basically March to October, and we got excited when in last March things took off just exactly like we thought they were going to. And we started having all these plans based on the amount of money we expected to come in. And when things started happening, we got really excited and we started to make some moves, and all of a sudden the sales just dropped off completely, just plummeted on us. And so we put everything on hold, and then, it was dry for a little while. And once we get to about end of June, beginning of July, we hit a hot streak where we sold more bikes in 6 weeks than we had the previous 8 months. So it was just it's such a volatile revenue stream.
Yeah, it's almost like a seasonal type business.
It really is.
And I think about like those businesses that make their revenue in like a 3-month period, and then they're living off that for 9 months. That's got to be tough, and you got to learn how to budget. You do. You got to learn how to have discipline, right, in your spending and your thoughts and your growth and all that stuff. Yeah. So I appreciate that. What about as far as the vision? What's the long-term vision for your company?
Yeah, great question. So long-term, we want to cultivate the community that we have. So many of the bikes that we sell are the entry-level bikes. Yeah. And one of our goals is to keep the cost down as much as you can. It's one of our marketing strategies. So I find bikes that are on sale, like really good sale based on overproduction or what have you. And we bring those in, we sell them at pre-COVID pricing, and it's really attractive to a lot of people. And it's something, I kind of call it the TJ Maxx marketing strategy, but it works really well for us. And it keeps a community that just is trying to get into biking. It keeps them able to afford that because it's an initial large purchase.
Yeah, what's the typical entry price look like?
Yeah, so we're around $500 to $700 on an entry level bike. COVID pushed those prices way up because there was a big famine where you could not buy bikes. There just was no supply. So the price went up and the availability went way down. So you're looking at $700+ for an entry level bike at that time. But again, we're now getting those bikes at a really great discount, and we take that and we pass it on to the community just to get them into the sport. And we hope that once we start cultivating, when we get into that second bike purchase, when people get really excited about it, they continue to do it. And we'd like to see the bikes that we stock start to go up a level at a time. Something more and more exciting, more capable bikes.
That's cool. Yeah, and that's you hit on something there, because I think once people get a feel for that again. Let's just say you're an adult, maybe you're in your 30s, trying to get back into shape, right? Yeah. Don't want to get fat, as you said, and you get out on that bike and you realize, man, this is fun. This reminds me of being a kid, kind of like fishing is for me. When I get out on a trout stream or on my bass boat, I feel like a kid, right? And I think a bike does the same thing. I used to be into bikes, and I had I remember a story. I had a bike that my brother loaned me, and I had just bought a little mountain bike, a used one. And I asked a buddy of mine, I said, why don't you come to Cooper's Rock with me? It's just right here in Morgantown. It's a great trail system and state park. And we went out, and the next day he came over with a full suspension, probably a $3,000 or $4,000 bike. He was like, I'm in. I'm like, yeah, you are. You better ride that thing. Now he's still riding. I mean, this has probably been 25 years ago, and he's still riding. He rides Trek Madones.
Yes.
Not the top of the line. Those are pretty expensive bikes, but they're worth every penny for sure.
Absolutely.
So I get the idea what you're trying to do. That entry level, I think it's a great strategy. The TJ Maxx strategy, like you said. Yeah, that's cool.
Combine that with something else we're wanting to do is bring in a second revenue stream that's going to be more steady. We actually pitched this at a competition. It's Trails Edge Coffee and Boba. So we want to do a small coffee shop and also bring a certain style of boba drinks back to the area as well. So we're looking at that as well.
What is that exactly? For our listeners.
Yeah, sure. So boba
and myself, I don't know what.
Absolutely. I think traditional boba is going to be more. It's a lot of times with tea, it has additives, different flavors and stuff with it. But the boba is going to be those little pearls. Most of them are the tapioca base.
Yeah.
Now, I think
I know what you're talking
the
about.
one I'm more juiced about is the one that's kind of like the little frog eggs you get from. What's the ice cream shop? The frog, Sweet Frog.
Oh, Sweet Frog. Yeah.
So those little popping pearls. I really like those. Those probably technically not boba, but that's the ones I like. And it's great. Funny. We wanted to do the small coffee shop because it's really good for our area, and we see a lot of them. They do really well. Yeah. We thought that's a good way to do it, but I personally hate coffee, so there has to be something there that I like to drink. So the boba is kind of
that's good. That's a happy medium. Yeah, I love it. I think that's really cool. Jeff, you're a leader in your community. You're leading your business. I always like to ask a question or two about leadership. What do you think is the most important leadership attribute for business leaders today?
That's a really tough question because there's several that I would say. But first and foremost, I would think it would be patience. You have to look at things and not expect things to go the way you expect them to immediately. You have to be willing to put in the time, the effort, and then wait for things to come around. There has to be a lot of adjusting the strategies and seeing what works, what doesn't work, and just being patient and at the same time working hard to bring in the returns. Yeah,
that's great. Wise advice. I appreciate that. I want to mention that being in the area that you're at in Raleigh County, you're part of the Hive, which is a nonprofit for business advice and startup advice and stuff like that. You won an award, a very prestigious award in 2024 just recently. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot be more thankful to the Hive. They've been just fantastic and instrumental in, first of all, getting us off the ground, and second of all, a lot of the success that we've had ongoing. Fantastic group, and without them, I couldn't imagine trying to open a business without some type of a support organization.
Yeah, how did they help you? If you're able to maybe just give us an example.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a business advisor through the Hive, and we have they'll schedule different based on your needs, but we do a monthly check-in. And
that's awesome.
Mary Legg, she's just fantastic. So big thanks to Mary. But she advises on, how to get things up and running. Do you have all the legal documentation in place? Did you do this? Did you just check in all the boxes that, as somebody who just wants to open a business, you just don't know those things. So they're absolutely instrumental in making sure we do things right, legal, and that there's no gotchas waiting around the corner. Oh, you didn't think about this, and now here's a big expense.
Yep.
So
that's the last thing you need, starting a business.
It's stressful enough.
Yep.
But to have a partner to go into it with you like that, it's fantastic. But we're very thrilled to be named the 2024 West Virginia Hive Small Business of the Year.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. Sounds like you're doing a lot of things right. So
we're trying.
Being recognized and having that accolade is super cool. What's one piece of advice, Jeff, that you would give for somebody out there thinking about starting a business? Maybe it's like they're, the way that you did it, almost like as a side hustle, or as a just go all in. What would one piece of advice be?
100% is to find an organization like the Hive, because it's so difficult otherwise. I had a friend who actually tuned me into the Hive, and she's an entrepreneur herself. She owns a barbershop down in Beckley, the Kilter Barber. Fantastic person, and Tara's instrumental in getting the base knowledge to me and then pointing me to the Hive for that support. But I would absolutely encourage everybody to seek out those organizations like the Hive to help you get off the ground. It's completely free. In fact, we ended up getting some grant funding and stuff through them, and
that's cool.
It's just fantastic.
At what point do you seek that advice? I'm kind of curious. Do you do it when you're ready to go, or hey, I've got this idea?
I would do it as early as possible. Hey, I've got an idea is exactly where I would start looking for it. If you think there's a chance that you're going to get something off the ground, start now.
That's cool. Good stuff. I appreciate that advice. We've covered a lot of ground in this interview. Jeff, is there anything else you think our listeners should know about your story personally or about Trails Edge Cycles?
We're just a bike shop that's built out of the community and for the community. It's our passion. We're thrilled to have it. We would love for people to come down and visit with us. You don't have to buy a bike, but if you want to, we're happy to do that as well. But just very thankful for our shop and thank God for the success that we've had.
Amen. Sounds awesome, and I can't wait to come down and visit you guys. Jeff, as we close out our time here, how can our listeners learn more about Trails Edge Cycles and maybe even get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can reach us at trailsedgecycles.com on our website. We also have Facebook and Instagram, so check us out there.
Yeah, we'll make sure we have links to all that in the show notes sections and when we post this on social media as well, so folks can check out your company, Trails Edge Cycles. Jeff Webb, it's been an honor to have you on the show. I enjoyed getting to know you a little bit, and I really think you have something great going there in Beckley, and want to encourage you to keep up the great work.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Folks, that's a wrap on another episode of Positively West Virginia. If you or someone you know would be a great guest on the show, drop us a line on our website at positively.wv.com. And of course, we appreciate your comments, encouragement, and sharing this content along the way as well. On behalf of our entire Positively West Virginia team, including our producer today, Mr. Jimmy Murray behind the controls, I'm your host, Jim Matuga. Stay positive, West Virginia.
We'd like to thank our partners, Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Kia of Morgantown, InnerAction Media, Storymaker, and our studio sponsor, Breezeline, for helping to share these positive stories. If you'd like to become a sponsor of the Positively West Virginia podcast, visit positivelywv.com/sponsor.